Hey everybody, welcome back to today's Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry. I think we've got to be getting to the end game here. I'm thinking we're on the end of chapter 10. There's no more tips available for us, and it seems like we're probably starting to wind down here. So let's see what happens. This is the first time I ever woke with such clarity. It was 5:59, just moments before my alarm would go off. I was amazed at the precision of my internal clock. I had made preparations for the next day of school before I went to bed. I liked the birds and the serene music. I changed quickly and descended to the deserted lower floor. It appeared that my mom was still asleep. Neither breakfast nor lunch was ready. Yesterday I just unilaterally declared that I would be leaving early today, so it couldn't be helped. I slathered jam on some bread and topped it with instant cocoa. It's a weird snack. As I was finishing up breakfast, Mom rose groggily from her slumber. Not officially a school event. I'm gonna go grab a baseball bat to beat my friends with. Answering bluntly, I picked up my bag and stood after stuffing 2 slices of bread down my throat. But Mom, I have to go get my bat. I waited for her to make my lunch, then it would end up being the same time as usual. If I did that, it would raise the chances of me running into Rena and Mion on the way. Yes, from today onwards, I was going to school alone. Guess I'll starve. Took the 1,000 yen bill from Mom and slipped it in my pocket. Yeah, we don't want to hang out with Rena. I have no reason to tell her every little detail, do I? Finding it difficult answering the onslaught of questions, I made an annoyed face. Not that I didn't trust my parents, I just couldn't rely on them. Couldn't help me. I only hoped they didn't get involved. It was safer that way. My mom's annoying voice was cut off by the slam of the door. For the first time since I moved here, I headed down the road to school alone. We're like cutting everybody out of our lives. That's not good. Up until now, I always walked down the same path at the same time each day. So I always met with the same people at the same places. But today was different. I didn't meet the people I would normally, and nobody was at the places where I would have normally met them. Of course, Rena wasn't in the spot where we usually met, and there wasn't anyone at the spot where we would have met up with Mion. The length of the tree's shadows, the morning air, and the brightness of the sun, it was a completely different type of morning from what I was used to. Without a doubt, it felt strange. It left me with the impression that I had destroyed the illusion Hinamizawa had set up for me before it had enough time to prepare all of the props needed to deceive me. Mind your own business, nosy neighbor. The person who called out at me was someone who always passed as they were taking a walk along the edge of the fields. Their name was, I forgot. Of course, this wasn't the spot where we usually pass each other. Threw out a random excuse. Get out of my business. I was being asked the same type of questions my mom was asking, so I answered them in the same uninteresting, vague manner. I don't even know your name, villager number 2. It was funny being asked where Rena was each time I passed by someone, but maybe it was to be expected. It was because for so long we were always together so amicably. Even I felt that if I left my guard down, we could still be Stop it, Keiichi. Don't think about that anymore. You spent all day yesterday thinking about how dangerous it was to go soft, didn't you? We were like alienating everyone that's important to us. Beep beep. Car horn blaring from out of nowhere. Even though I was walking lost in thought, the horn was way too close. Is it Oishi again? Is this that damn detective? Mechanical behemoth barreled at me from behind, catching me completely off guard. The time I turned around, the van's hulking chassis was almost on top of me. I'd seen plenty of cars veer to the opposite shoulder to avoid pedestrians, but this car was doing the opposite. Felt like Like there was somebody on the opposite shoulder and the van was swerving in my direction to avoid them. That blissfully ignorant train of thought delayed me from realizing something much, much more important. A large Mars was hurtling right at me. Was it going to hit me? The inside of my head instantly flooded with the painfully cold... What? The painfully cold liquid? I'm assuming figuratively. Like... Oh, I see. In that moment, the scene before me... No. Time itself had frozen. In the silence of that frozen moment, I compared the van, so close that I had no way to dodge it, and my body. The upper half twisted awkwardly in order to look behind me. There was no way I could dive out of the way in my current position. If I lost focus now, this moment would unpause, and I'd probably be plowed over, caught in this silly pose. Bend my upper body over towards the patio by the side of the road. If I went far enough, I'd get away with just being hit by the side view mirror. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, the temporal stasis was shattered by the deafening sound of the van. Side mirror struck my shoulder, sending me spinning off through the air like a top, locked in my contorted position. Damn! Alright, we didn't imagine that. We actually just got hit by a van. Kasplash! Sent tumbling through the air, I crashed into the muddy patio by the side of the road. My entire body was soiled and drenched. But the choice I had made in that instant was unmistakably for the best. I was covered in mud, but when the alternative was being hit by the car, it was the closest I could be to being unscathed. Rising out from the patio, I had enough in me to glare over at the stopped van and yell profanities at the driver. Not sure if he was able to see me, but the van sped off suddenly. Yeah, that's a hit and run, honey. Couldn't help but continue yelling out profanities. I hope we got the license plate. The disgrace from being covered in mud hurt me more than any physical wounds. I slogged through the muddy patio and made my way back onto the road. This is a crime, you're right. Shit, I'll track you down and sue you. If I go looking for a van, I'm sure to find it in this little village. Yeah, there's like 10 people who live in this village. I'm sure you'll be able to find them if you look hard enough. The path I was on had rice paddies on either side, and it had become so narrow that one car could barely fit through. Wasn't a place you could tear full speed down in a car, let alone pass by pedestrians. Not only was it a narrow road, but the car just now was closer to my side of the road than the other when it went past me. Even if as I cursed, I was desperately trying to suppress the dark cloud rolling within me. Is he gonna get this idea that the car was trying to hit him? It wasn't just a hit and run. That car just now was trying to run me over, wasn't it? Thinking back, I did feel like there had been a car creeping up on me slowly for a while. That's right. As soon as I'd parted ways with that person taking a walk, I had that feeling the whole time. If it had wanted to pass me, then I had no shortage of chances. Normally I would have felt suspicious and turned around sooner. But I was lost in thought, and now I was kicking myself for not realizing it was there sooner. And then when the path became narrow and there was no one else in sight, he floored it. If I had hesitated for even a moment, the result would have been no laughing matter. As the adrenaline rush from being nearly run over subsided, and the realization of just how terrifying the preceding events were sunk in. There was no doubt about it. That van was intentionally trying to hit me. A cold, viscous sweat seeped from my scalp. Ooh, alliteration! A viscous sweat seeped from my scalp and slid down my back before dribbling off. Read that in a Dr. Seuss book. Probably not. Probably not viscous sweat in a Dr. Seuss book. I struggled to avoid falling into a panic. There was still the possibility that this was really just an accident. Calm down, Keiichi. But also don't be so naive, Keiichi. Being that lax will get you killed next time. You need to always be on your toes. Don't give them any openings. If my enemy was really out to kill me, then next time, they would use a more reliable method. That time came and I was acting like I was now. Getting covered in mud was the price I had paid for my own naivete. Covered in mud, but without an injury. Not even a sprain. I guess this is what you would call the silver lining. I began walking again, this time cautiously. Wouldn't even show a hint of carelessness. I had suspected only Rena and the others up until now. No, it was because I had suspected them that I believed there were no other enemies. Oishi-san had said so, didn't he? There was the possibility of a village conspiracy. Was I really mired so deeply in the situation that I had no choice but to try to carry on as usual? Wouldn't it be safest just to hold myself up in the house? But the moment I abandoned my regular routine, everyone around me would abandon theirs as well. That was just too horrifying of a thought. I recalled the tales Oishi-san told me of when Hinamizawa was still called Onikakushi. A frightening tale of an entire village of demons hunting their prey, surrounding them, and eating them alive. One must not interfere with the demons. One must pretend not to see it. The enemy were numerous, the whole village. The villagers, with their unwavering faith in the curse, would do nothing to help me. A strong sudden flash of sunshine made me slightly dizzy. I feel like as time goes on, this conspiracy gets bigger and bigger and bigger. At first it was just one kid, then it was Mion and Rena. Now it's like the entire village. Like these last like 2 or 3 chapters, like Keiichi's taken a drastic turn in personality. He's suspicious of everybody. I had no idea what was going on anymore. When I suspected it was the work of a man, I would catch a glimpse of Oyashiro-sama's curse. When I suspected it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, someone would poke their head out. What was coincidence? What was intentional? Who was my enemy? Who was just a bystander? No. What I really truly wanted to know was, how did I end up with the proverbial bullseye painted on my back? Eventually, an answer in a form I can understand will appear. I don't care when that will happen. Because until then, I cannot die. That alone fueled my resolve to fight and will to keep me alive. Interesting. We really haven't seen any evidence of a conspiracy other than, like, Mion and Rena feeding us needles. Like, it could just be those two. I remembered seeing the metal bat in the gym storage shed, but there was a padlock on the door barring my entry. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. I circled around the school grounds impatiently. All I could find were things like pieces of lumber. Nothing I could bring into the classroom easily. Then, I had an epiphany. I should search inside the classroom. If there was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be a problem. I could tell that everyone's indoor shoes were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early. Nobody else was here yet. I wondered, what could I find in the classroom? I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat, but couldn't be helped at this point. Till the gym storage shed was open, I needed to find a substitute. A lingering hint of naivete. That's like the 5th time we've used the word naivete in these last 2 episodes. I'm just noticing that. Lingering hint of naivete whispered, and there was no way I'd be attacked at school. But such soft ideas would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I had once thought impenetrable. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredibly frightening thought. But I believe that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyways, I will survive. So long as I lived, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of emergency, there was probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. My gaze landed on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Mion used to store a pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to still be a tracksuit in my locker. Seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later. But first I needed a weapon. When one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I swiftly began opening the lockers one by one. They're mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella? I couldn't find anything better than this would have to be my weapon. It's not a great weapon, Keiichi. I feel like you should probably keep looking. I was about to give up on finding anything decent when I opened a locker that held exactly what I wanted. It was, without a doubt, a metal bat. It was well worn and pretty beaten up, but there was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of mold, there also hung a baseball uniform. Probably the locker of a student in a Pee-wee league or something like that. This music just got really ominous. If that was the case, then he probably asked for it back. That time I could hear the voices of the children scuffling their way noisily in from the hallway. Amongst them I could make out Rika-chan and Satoko. Good morning, Rika-chan. Ohayo gozaimasu. I nonchalantly hid the bat I was holding behind my back. Guess we gotta go change. With that said, I began taking off my clothes. Satoko began to blush just as I expected her to. She's gonna get naked in the classroom? Go to to the bathroom.
レディーの前でお着替えなんてしつけがなってませんことよ。
着替えをじーっと見てるレディもしつけがなってないと思うぞ。
You know, you're getting naked in front of
男子
children,
は更衣室が
Keiichi.
ないんだから
Go.
諦めろ。
No changing room for the boys. Go use the bathroom. Sad to go feign disgust, she went into the hall, still blushing. Conversely, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to change.
リカちゃんもレディなら着替えを見てるのは良くないと思うぞ。
She wants to see you naked.
僕はレディーじゃないです。
I'm not a lady, so it's fine. Get naked. Take your pants off, says Rika. She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned eyes.
じゃあリカちゃんも今からレディだ。
レディーなら仕方ありませんです。
Rika-chan, appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made her way to join Sadako in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, Rika-chan suddenly stopped and turned back towards me.
ケイチは野球を始めますですか？
Seems that Rika-chan had noticed the bat.
ああ、ちょっとさ。
あ、
体がなまってさ。ちょっと素振りでも始めようかなってな。
健康に気を使うのはとても良いことだと思いますです。
Good cover, good excuse. She was talking like an old lady despite her appearance. After saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once
そ
more.
のバットなくさないでくださいねです。
Seems she already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There was no name on the locker door. I didn't know whose bat it was, but I'd be borrowing it until they complained. Wouldn't be for long, just until the gym storage shed was opened. After quickly changing into the tracksuit, I checked the time. Still had plenty of time before class began because I came so early. Took the bat in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. It was, of course, to practice my swing. Needed to make it known I would always have a bat on me so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. I wasn't the academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. Might get muscle pain if I just started suddenly swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-ups. I doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary, which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bat and swung lightly. That was by no means light. Weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray that the moment I needed to use this weapon would never come. Just carrying it around could deter attacks against me. At least, that's what I hoped. So we're just standing out in the schoolyard, like, swinging a bat menacingly? It's weird.
ケイちゃん、あんた何やってんの？
Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped.
ケイチ君、野球部だよ。野球部だよ。
It was Rena and Mion.
先に行ったって言われて驚いたけど、ケイちゃん、あんた何やってるわけ？
Get ready to crack some skulls,
見
Mion.
てわからないかよ。素振りだよ。甲子園だよ。
For the
別に
championship.
ダイエットでもいいぞ。
ダイエットってケイちゃん、そんなに太ってたっけ？
ああ、知らなかったろ。実は三段腹なんだ。もちもちでタプタプなんだぞ。
It's plump and jiggles. Same. Same. I'm not gonna take a baseball,
も
though.
ちもちでタプタ
Jiggles?
レナ、変な想像しなくていいぞ。
She's gonna think it's cute. To disrupt Rena from imagining something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily.
じゃあまあ、頑張って県大会を目指してちょうだいよ。おじさん応援してるわ。野球部の強い高校教えよっか。そこにいる左腕の亀田くんがすごいピッチャーなんだけどさ。頑張ってね。
Seems they've already taken me for a baseball nut, but oh well. If I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and catcher. I'd pitch the ball, run past that ball I just threw, and change over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed dryly at that ludicrous image. Coming back to my senses, I smashed the bat against the ground.
くそ！何笑ってんだよ、俺！
So, like 2 episodes ago, maybe 3, Rena and even Mion were super menacing. And now I feel like it's switched. Like, we're like completely unhinged. I pounded the ground over and over, with each impact of reverberation traveling through the bat stung my hands. They smile at me like that. Don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone. No matter how many times I tell myself that. They made me smile like that. I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. I feel like we've switched now. Like, Keiichi seems like he's the one that's like a nut. But I just couldn't believe it. Did that kind of split personality really exist? He's exhibiting that split personality. Like how Rena confessed to the doctor, were they simply being possessed by Oishi-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Oishi-sama really exist, and was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along, and everything was just Oishi-sama's fault. Yeah, we crazy. I yelled out, drawing out all the power from the pit of my stomach, and raised the bat violently into the air. As I screamed out with all my might, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. With every impact, my weakness was being beaten down. Smash. Forget. Smash. Don't be soft. Smash. Know your enemy. Smash. Like hell I'd let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down from my ragged breathing. I heard the first bell just as I calmed down. Holy crap, Keiichi. Take a Xanax, friend. Whew. I gasped with a sudden realization. That was the final bell. As I felt all the tension drain from me, I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. I didn't feel like I was awake, but didn't feel like I was asleep either. Couldn't say it felt especially comfortable, but I felt a kind of relief that the sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long would I have to keep on living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it as this living hell slowly gnawed away at me. Are we going to stay after for club today, or are we going to come up with another excuse? The sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my senses. Everyone was moving their desks together as usual. That's right. It was happy, fun club time, but I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk in my bag as I prepared to go home. It was a weak-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say, I'll be going home now. Mion sounded quite disappointed. One of the words that spilled from my mouth matched Mion's disapproving glare. Felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satsuko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the mood, she swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. It looked to mean I could leave if I wanted. But the collected gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount an insect in a display, held me in place. Rena was the one who cut through the heavy mood. She's so sad. But she was also so scary earlier. She said it in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. This pain was going to kill me. I wanted it to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest, finally tearing out the pins that held me in place. I'd only be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. They didn't speak a word to me as I left. Something's off. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bat, which was already soggy from sweat. Realizing that, I wiped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, I wouldn't want it to be slippery. Since this morning, I've become especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears pricked up and sought out threatening sounds and presences that could be closing in. And that was why I could hear it. Without a doubt, there were footsteps. Those footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. When I could sense it was just one person. But I had no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me like that car this morning? Until we were in a good location to assault me? And it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking and looked back. The wooded path crowded with trees responded with silence as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me. And just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well. Meaning the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was without question proof that I was their target. I held my breath, waiting for that presence to panic and start moving again. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. The Higurashi also joined in the dissonant chorus, trying to throw my focus into disarray. Had 5 minutes passed? Or had I been like this for a whole 30 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have been suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was lurking in the shade of that tree with bated breath. Then I'd make the first move, and fix my grip on the bat. I raised it up to my shoulder to be ready to swing it at any time. On my might, I screamed at whoever was hiding in the shade of the trees. But the presence in the shade didn't budge. Till the moment I found them, they had no intention of revealing themselves. I screamed out angrily at them again, but even still, they didn't move at all. Then I'll go over there myself. We're gonna go like beat a kid or something. Is one of our friends following us? With all due vigilance, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree's shadow, I saw a human figure there. That figure was curled up like a small animal.
Rena.
Oh. When she realized I'd found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word. I'm gonna accept that silence and scream the question at her. Rena was in a panic with tears welling up in her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me. Because she's concerned. I don't know how to feel. I'm so torn. She was so scary like 2 or 3 episodes ago. Thinking about how I'd been acting up until now, it wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior could have been perceived as strange. So Rena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. And if that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like try to tail me. She should have crawled out to me when I was leaving and gone out right with me. But Rena didn't do that. She kept her distance from me and matched my walking speed. Top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps and deviously tried to hide her presence from me. After she realized I noticed she was there, she held her breath as she tried hiding from me. Because you swore at her and you raised the bat in the air. She wore a timid expression that would force one to take pity on her, but without a doubt she was tailing me. Still glaring at Rena, I continued walking onwards. After I walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again. So I yelled at her once more. Yeah, I was gonna say, she lives near us. Oh my god. I don't feel good about this. Moved out of the way and waved my bat violently to urge her forward. Rena? Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. That agitated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, then you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies. Seeing that the seething anger within me was written all over my face. Even without me saying anything, Rena had understood what I was feeling inside. I swung the bat, urging her again to walk. Rena looked back and forth between me and the bat and started walking hesitantly, then stopped again. Rena guarded herself while pointing at me holding the bat. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bat for baseball. I lowered the bat, but still guardedly opened the way for her. Nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly so as not to set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely after having barely moved at all.
おい、立ち止まるなよ。
Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. Rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly. What? I swung blindly with the bat in my right, protecting the small opening I had presented. But Rena didn't even try to attack during that opening. Attack me? No, she hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. That moment, the voice inside of me immediately warned of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. The smell of the air had changed? Without me realizing it, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It was like the air had suddenly become invisible concrete. Like Rena and I were locked in this space. Rena didn't move an inch. Also unable to move, I stared at her back. Rena was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. I felt like I had just witnessed her shift from Rena into that other person who looks like Rena. But the voice was one I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Carelessly, I felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice.
ごめんね。聞いてもいい？
Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out desperately. As she trembled.
なんだよ。
どうしてバットなんか持ってるのかな？
The question Rena asked was by no means unexpected.
俺が何を持ってたっていいだろ。
It is a little bit menacing, though, Keiichi.
昨日まで持ってなかったし。どうして突然？
別に突然でもいいだろ。俺がバットを持ってるとおかしいかよ。
だって圭一君、野球とかしない人だったでしょ？おかしいよ。
Couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for, and I was getting tired of answering her.
突然、野球がしたくなったんだよ。それじゃおかしいか？
おかしいよ。
She answered instantly, and that annoyed me slightly.
突然野球がしたくなった。素振りがしたくなったからバットを持ち歩いてる。それのどこが変なんだよ。
変。おかしい。絶対。なんで圭一君まで。
ぶつくさとうるせえやつだな。俺がスポーツに目覚めるのがそんなに変かよ。
Tried to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Till my suspicions about Rena were cleared, I had no obligation to answer her questions.
ごめんね。
I don't feel good about this at all.
そんなに怒らないで。
Rena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology one after the next.
最後に一個だけ教えて。
これ以上話す気も教える気もねえよ。早く行けよ。
I yelled loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state caused my heart to ache sorely. Even though she was afraid, she stubbornly kept herself from moving. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her final question.
なんでバットまで同じなの？
My bat? What does she mean by the bat was the same? Yeah. I had no idea what she was talking about. It's not our bat. We took it out of our
何言
locker.
ってんだ。
だから、なんでバットまで同じなのかなって。
何を言ってんだか全然わかんねえよ。もっとはっきり言え。
Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed.
だから、どうしてバットまでサトシ君と同じなの？
Sato. Oh, the boy who disappeared. Sato's brother.
え？
That's his bat that we have? Upon hearing that name out of the blue, I became dumbfounded for a brief moment. So Satoshi was the boy whose desk we have now, the one that quote-unquote transferred out the previous year, but we think he was really demoned away? Yeah, did she mean the student who was transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be. Rena had tried to cover it up by saying he transferred, but Oishi-san told me quite clearly that he was missing. He was the student who sat at my seat until last year. He was believed to have been demoned away by Oishi-osama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed the night of the Onikakushi by a drug addict, and not long after that he suddenly vanished and was now missing. But Satoshi and I were... what? My gaze fell to the bat in my hands. Could it be? Satoshi Hojo. A bit difficult to see, but that was what was written on the white tape at the end of the bat. So we're carrying Satoshi's bat. So that's weird. I see, so this was Satoshi's bat.
Oh.
That's why Rika-chan told us not to lose it, because she knew whose bat it was.
Satoshi のバットだったんだな。誰も使ってなかったんで、ちょっと借りたんだよ。いいだろ、それくらい。
そんなことじゃないの。
The way Rena said that made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at a shrine or a memento of the deceased. I could only stand there, perplexed and unable to respond. Rena continued speaking without waiting for a reply.
サトシ君の時とどうしてそんなにまで同じなの？
What did he do? Rena was talking about more than just the bat belonging to Satoshi.
サトシ君もそうだった。野球チームには入ってたけど、本当は野球なんか好きじゃない人だったのに。
それが俺とどう関係が？
Yeah.
サトシ君もある日突然バットを持ち歩き始めたの。チームに入ってただけでスポーツなんかしない人だったのに。
What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say it out loud. So maybe he was feeling threatened too? Because he knew he was about to be demoned away, so maybe he was carrying around the bat like we're doing. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Rena is trying to tell something important.
サトシ君もね、ある日突然一人で登校するようになったの。ケイイチ君みたいに。そしてね、ある日突然素振りの練習を始めたの。ケイイチ君みたいに。
So we're repeating the same behaviors that he was doing.
ある日突然
That's weird.
バットを持ち歩くようになったの。ケイイチ君みたいに。そしてね、ある日突然。
One day he suddenly what? Rena had swallowed her words. Yeah, we don't know what happened with Satoshi. All our friends pretended not to know who he was. We found out through Oishi that he was actually at our school, but none of our friends said that they knew who Satoshi was. Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally digest the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. What was the meaning of this? Up until now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything of what he'd done. My actions today should have been my own creation after all the planning I had done. But they'd been the exact same as Satoshi's? Then Satoshi... No, more importantly, both Satoshi and I acted the same, then there's a really good possibility that what had happened after would be the same.
レナ、ある日突然、サトシはどうしたんだよ?
Rena knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to a guy in the past. Rena knew what was going to happen to me.
答えろよ、レナ。サトシはどうしたんだよ?
With that, I grabbed Rena's shoulder violently and forcibly turned her around to face me. As I faced her, I felt a jolt travel through my entire body.
言ったよね、ケイイチ君。
It was that person that I didn't know. At least it definitely wasn't the Reina Ryugu I'd been talking to up until now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trembling or emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. That gaze that pierced like a cold needle, the smile on her face that invoked an image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine. My mind froze under a layer of rime. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. As if to remind me of the fear from that time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breath. Her face had filled my entire field of vision. Then her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper, like the curve of a crescent moon. She grinned.
言ったよね、ケイイチ君。
After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words again.
サトシ君はね、 転校しちゃったの。
Transferred, meaning what? What Rena meant must have been some new definition of transfer that I was previously not aware of. My throat and lips dried up. Couldn't even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees pathetically. Rena, and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. But I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze shooting through my eyes. There was undoubtedly a metal bat in my hand, but right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly caught in her web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin.
しないよね、ケイチ君は。
Rena finally released me from that cage of time from what felt like an eternity. But her question was missing something important and was incredibly vague. Once again I swallowed hard, urging her on.
何をだよ。
What did she not want me to do?
転校。
This is... I don't know how to feel. Like, we're the... I feel like whenever our friends are, like, in a group, they're all, like, super chill with us. Well, we got an achievement, pinch hitter. And then as soon as we're one-on-one with them is when we start to notice these changes in behavior, but only when we're, like, super stressed. This might all be, like, in his head. I don't know, we're gonna keep going. Let's see what happened. Satoshi and I had what? All my well-planned actions throughout the day had turned out to be nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi. Had he really been in the same situation as I was now? Like you're acting paranoid, you're carrying a bat and swinging around at your friends. And, like, what Rika just said wasn't really threatening. We made it out to sound threatening, but maybe she thinks that Satoshi really transferred out. Like, we're putting that negative spin on... I don't know. I'm gonna shut up. Satoshi had been really in the same situation as I was now. The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason. At least none that I had noticed. Planned to kill him? Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself and carried it around every day to practice his swing. And then one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still at wherever he transferred to? Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? Wasn't that odd of an occurrence? I reached in my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my first seal keychain. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me. Who's in my house? Like a classmate messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? Had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space all the way through the door. But there was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know that they're there, even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. There's no other reason I'd hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking? How loud do you have to blink? What are you, a horse? Keiichi Maibara, there's no way you could hear that. Yeah. My most base instincts were warning me of the presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time, I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? As an uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there was somebody there? If there was nobody there when you turned around, would you be able to accept that? able to answer all those questions just by looking behind me. Oh my god, turn around! Just turn around. Ugh, but I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Right. I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just so long as I didn't have to turn around. If I'd calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that that wouldn't have solved anything. Spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. I could almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt it. There was no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi. It's all in your head. Someone's there. That time I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me. However reckless it was, inspired a primal yet fitting solution to this concurrent predicament. A scream. All the force of my body released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. Dude, you are out of it. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. To the moment I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended in the empty space. Couldn't be. They were invisible. It looked like they weren't there, but were they actually still standing there? We have obviously lost our damn mind. That was like 5 minutes worth of just like panic for no reason. And he's screaming. As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. An emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my state of heightened lucidity, I trusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm in my right hand as if drawn there by a magnet. A mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remembered reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. Jesus. I brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of that amalgamation of metal flashes that swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed... Yeah, there's something wrong with this kid. The bat slammed into the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound into a sweep to the left. The door of the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings whiffed through empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from that space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was embedded in and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My scream shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing with even more destructive power. Crack! Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike, with certainly fatal force behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat. The invisible enemy, there but not there, dispersed. We are freaking nuts. We just, like, destroyed our home. Because we thought there was an invisible person behind us. When I was certain the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. No way. Had it only feigned retreat and now was inside my house? Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence. But it was gone. I had succeeded in fending it off. At that moment, tension drained from my body and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All the emotions I've been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest. Exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remained composed. Composed? You call that composure? After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. I After clearing my mind of all idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There was definitely something there. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition I dreamt up in my confused state, but I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Compose yourself. No matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon. Without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. Yeah, but you also said you could hear them blinking. You said you could hear the sound of their hair moving and the sound of them blinking. That's a little bit off, friend. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. Either I'd been possessed by the supernatural phenomenon known as Oishi-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rena and the rest of them doing it, but it would be solvable. Oishi-san and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of Oishi-sama's curse, I wonder what would happen. Oishi-san very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable, but as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oishi-san this was the work of Oishi-sama's curse, what would happen? I couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. Me having so few allies to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit to doing that. I better keep the facts of what just happened at the doorway to myself. It'd be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There was still the ever so slight possibility. I was actually confused when I thought I was composed, and I was just going berserk in the entryway. At least this boy has enough common sense to realize what he just did was batshit nuts. That's a positive, at least. How wonderful would that be if that's really what happened? I'd be able to refute Oishi-sama's curse. But if I denied Oishi-sama's curse, then that would mean admitting that Rena and the rest were the perpetrators. If I said that Rena and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Oishi-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I would be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I could choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what has already happened as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious and everything up until now was a figment of my imagination. Oishi-sama's curse wouldn't exist, and I would still be bestest buddies with Rena and the rest. I would have to be crazy. It was the first time in my life I'd ever wished for such a thing. I think you're crazy, Keiichi. That was nuts. Hello? The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed off the bed and went downstairs.
もしもし、前原です。
ケイチ、お母さんだけど。
Hi, Mom. I intuitively had a bad feeling about this, because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative.
何？別に俺、夕食はインスタントでもいいよ。まだいっぱいあったでしょ。
The other day we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to go get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they refused since the individual packs were expensive. So instead I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavored ones I like. I like cup noodles. I don't know if I would like those. My parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards were still full of them.
だからさ、買い物に行く必要はないんじゃないの？
ケイチ、買い物のお願いじゃないの。お父さんとお母さんね、お仕事の関係で急遽東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。
What does our mom do? I thought she was just like a housewife.
え？
Dad's an artist.
今から？
This is really abrupt.
もう着いちゃってるの。お昼には出発してたからね。
Oh. Quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Cutting at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. Would have taken longer.
Keiichi もお父さんとお母さんの話を聞いてたからわかるかもしれないけど、お父さんのお仕事の契約がね、今ちょっとうまくいってないの。
So we're in the house alone, with no parents. Now that she mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all that time about how his good job prospects weren't looking so good.
お父さんはそういうのに繊細な人だから、このままだとお仕事にも影響が出ちゃうの。
So, what's gonna happen since our parents are out of town and we're home alone? Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions change as easily as the fall sky. You could also just say he couldn't take criticism.
でもそんなの電話でやり取りすればいいじゃないか。
ケイチ、お父さんのお仕事なんだから、もうちょっと応援してあげて。とにかく電話よりも直接会って話した方が早いの。誤解もないし。
As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work.
だから帰るのは明日の晩になっちゃうの。ケイチ、一人で大丈夫よね。
I don't think we're gonna be fine on our own. We just destroyed our front hall. We swung our bat at a ghost, thinking that was going to do something.
じゃあなんて軽々しく言っちゃダメよ。心配事があったら相談してね。母さん、きっと相談に乗れると思うから。
I don't think you can help me, Mom. Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little bit worried. But really I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying, at least not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it.
死なないよ。俺はあがいてでも生き延びる。
It's a weird thing to tell your mom.
じゃあね、明日の朝、ちゃんと起きるのよ。朝ごはんは食べてね。お風呂と歯磨きも忘れないのよ。
へいへい。そんじゃ。
Call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings, but Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. Times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. Couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange or rather unnatural. Anyway, all I needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. When my parents come back from work, I'd be gone. Missing. Vanished. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oishi-sama's curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on in the whole house was from my room on the 2nd floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and that this was their chance. First, I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights and turned on the TV to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. We're gonna do like the Home Alone thing. We're gonna have like all the cutouts and like the mannequins and stuff dancing in the living room so they think we have a full house of people. With this from the outside, it looked like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I need to take it down. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. Should be fine now. Ah! The garage! Then got all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone up to Okinomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This is not good. I panicked and rushed out the back to close the normally open garage door. Should be fine now. Ah! I needed to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since I left in the afternoon, the evening paper was still out there. This kid is panicking like hard. My premonition was correct. Put out everything from the mailbox and dropped it into the entryway. With this, for sure this time, should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that from my little freakout was kinda bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell and the bat I was holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. I remembered that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. Who's calling us? So I was going to get them, the phone rang out once again.
もしもし、前原です。
あら、ケイチ君、お母様はいらっしゃいますかしら。
Who wants to know?
今ちょっといないんですけど。
No, wrong answer. You idiot, Keiichi Maibara. You idiot. You absolute idiot. You just spent like the last 20 minutes trying to make it okay, your parents are home, and then somebody calls and you're like, no, Mom's not here. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it.
すぐに戻ると思います。
Wasn't a good response either. And they might say they'll call again, or to tell her to call when she comes back.
結構です。大した話でもありませんから。では、失礼しますわね。
The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. Or just don't answer the phone. That's an idea. Need to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home, but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They're making tempura and couldn't step away right now. They were making sweet, hot, passionate love. And we'll get the phone all sticky. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? Thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They suspect my parents weren't here. Don't pick up the phone! She was taking the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. Since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver. I stopped announcing that this was the Maibara residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted. Oishi. Help me, Oishi.
Oishi-san ですか?
Yes, come help me.
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
I grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was, since there was no one else home, but I wanted to be in a spot that felt just a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san.
お待たせしました。
Well, there was a ghost in our house. I swung a bat at it. Since then, when was that exactly? There was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. Last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school, I met Oishi-san on the way back from the hospital, and we headed into town for lunch and we had a talk. And after that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well.
あ、すみません。なんて言いました？
その後、何か変わったことはありませんかとお尋ねしたんです。お返事がないんで焦りましたよ。
特には。
Words stopped in my throat. There was a ton of stuff that had happened. All of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. This night, when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all.
大石さん、やっぱり俺、命を狙われているみたいです。
本当ですか？
偶然の可能性もあるんですが、先日俺が病気で休んだ日、夕方にあの二人がお見舞いに来たんです。
あの二人？
レナとミオンです。そしてそこで大石さんと一緒に昼飯を食ったことを正されました。
それで
お見舞いってことでおはぎを置いていったんですが、その中に針が入ってたんです。偶然飲み込まずに済みましたが、これってやっぱり脅迫でしょうか？
その針は？
よく見かけるような普通の裁縫針のようでした。糸を通す穴が開いていて。
違いますよ、前原さん。証拠になります。脅迫だと立証できるかもしれません。その針はありますか？
Yeah, what do we do with that? Do we just throw it out? That's right. That's it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I'd overlooked it out of terror, but the needle was a valuable piece of evidence. Let's see, I threw the mochi and the needle at the wall together. If it was there, then it would be on the living room wall. Well, no, Mom probably cleaned it up. My prudent mother had cleaned that living room wall, and there's not a trace of mochi left on it. Could it be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet? Frantically searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desk, pulling up the carpet, then flapping it around. I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I didn't know when they collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened up the lid of the pail, and poured out all the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find the needle in this pile of trash. Looking for a needle in a trash stack. I know. I'll try running my hand through it. It's a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'll be able to... Oh yeah, let me just take my hand and slam it until I find the needle with my flesh. It's a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pile of trash with my hand. Filth flew about. Nothing more disgusting than this, but it's not the time to be concerned about such details. Continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. Shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for too long. Later when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad affixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. So, we saw a ghost earlier. We can't find the needle that we pulled out of our throat. Like, I'm wondering how much of this is real. Was there a needle? Yeah. I scrawled the words with a red pen. Was there a needle? I then dashed back up the stairs where I'd been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long.
もしもし、どうでしたか？
見つかりません。あの時はつい気が動転していて。
そうですか。見つかればでいいんです。保管しておいてくださいね。
That's right. Needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run.
あと大石さん、それだけじゃないんです。実は今朝。
That van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at that time.
その車のナンバープレートは見ましたか？こちらでも探してみます。
No. No, we didn't. At the time I just flipped out yelling at him, but I didn't look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and the plate number? Can you describe the van? So focused just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, noted how worthless I was.
すみません。白いワゴン車ってこと以外はわかりません。
仕方ないことですよ、前原さん。惹かれかければ気も動転します。
やっぱりこれだって偶然じゃないですよね。
Oishi-san started to hem and haw over the other end. I can imagine him folding his
あと
arms.
レナの様子もやっぱり怪しいです。
それはどんな感じですか？
Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say it with confidence, that Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew there was more to it than simply disappearing.
レナは知っています。去年の鬼隠しにあったサトシのことを何か知っています。
I don't know that she does. She just kept saying
それは
transferred.
具体的にどういうことですか？
She might actually think that he transferred to another
レ
school.
ナが言うには、俺はサトシとそっくりらしいんです。このまま行くと、俺もサトシと同じ運命をたどると、そんな感じのことを言うんです。
運命ですか？具体的にどんな運命をたどるか言及しま
She
し
said I would be transferred.
転校と。
Yeah, that's it. That's all she
た。
said.
レナは、サトシは転校したって言ってるんです。で、俺もこのままだと転校しちゃうぞって。
Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly.
前原さん、それはおそらく何かの脅迫、もしくは警告ですね。
俺もそう思ってます。
I don't think so. At that point, I started to think. Would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Oyashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only explanation. Of course, I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except, Rena's strange behavior could be proof of either scenario. Whether it was Oyashiro-sama's curse being real or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all the villagers. Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? Couldn't help but think that she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. Seemed to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little, though. Meaning he'd actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect... No, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I had lost the security I felt just by having my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There were no other residences close to the Maibara residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wondered, uh-oh. Was it the doorbell? I wonder if I'd still be here by tomorrow morning. So I had to ask, right now, because I had no idea when the next chance would come.
Oishi-san, 聞きたいことがあるんです。
That's the doorbell.
隠さないでくださいね。
Who's at the door? Please don't keep anything from me.
何でも聞いてください。
Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this was the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena, what happened at her previous school.
実はレナの
3 times. I noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first, but I finally realized it was the doorbell. Time was 7 o'clock. Past the time that the postman would be making delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. Consider just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all the work I put in to make it look like my parents were home. I needed to answer the
もし
door.
もし、前原さん。
Okay, take the phone with you. Go answer
あ、
the
すみ
door.
ません。誰か来たみたいですので、ちょっと玄関に行ってきます。
お客さんですか。すみません、すみません。今夜のお電話はこれくらいにしましょう
No,
か。
take the phone with you. That would be a problem.
あ、いえ、すぐ戻りますから。電話はこのままでいいですか？
Why don't you... It's a portable phone. He brought the portable phone to his room. The whole point of it being portable is that you could take it with you from place to place. Take the phone
は
with
い
you.
はい、構いませんよ。
I still feel like a lot of this is bullshit. I feel like a lot of this is in head, but just on the off chance that somebody's actually at the door trying to hurt us, you would take the phone with you. Don't be like every other stupid white girl in every horror movie ever. Take the phone. Drop the handset on my bed and dash down to the door. God dang it. You'd make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Oishi-san did. In which case it would be one of the neighbors who's friends with my mom. I'll just say mom isn't feeling very well and went to bed early. That'd be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. Someone didn't answer after you rang the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside me, I'd prepared for this moment. I had tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with. One of my mom's friends. It's not, though.
こんばんは。
Rena.
レナ、
Shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour, except she's concerned for us. Timing also made me feel uneasy, because it was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena. I wish I could have chalked this up to mere coincidence. But those unsettling words from Mion several days echoed back to me.
さーてね、おじさんにわからないことはないからね。
レナ一人。
うん。
Seems that Mion wasn't with her. That didn't change the situation at all.
何しに来たんだよ。
ねえ、ケイチ君、ちゃんとドアを開けてお話ししたいな。レナは玄関に入っちゃダメなのかな。
I don't think that's safe for either of us. I don't think you want to come in here because I don't trust Keiichi. And until I find out a little bit more about you, I don't know if I want to let you in either. It's true that speaking through a chain door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate, but...
うち、夜は必ずチェーンかけてるんだよ。気にすんなよ。
なら仕方ないかな。
Rena looked at the ground sadly. But she kept smiling at least, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared more than the possibility that hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain, and having my friendship betrayed. As long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. It didn't seem like I'd remove the chain from her silent urging. She appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway.
あのさ、ケイチ君、ご飯食べた？
No, I haven't eaten. If my mom wasn't there, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I laid down when I got home, was waking up by the phone, and didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all that time talking. I'm going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to.
いや、まだだよ。それがどうしたよ。
じゃあよかった。これ見て。お惣菜とか持ってきてあげたの。
Oh, she made us a little picnic. Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth.
お台所とか貸してくれれば、お味噌汁も温めてあげられるよ。
How did she know that we didn't have dinner waiting for us, though? She brought us dinner. How did she know that?
いいよ、そこまでしてくれなくても。
でも、お豆腐もお野菜もたっぷりなの。ケイチ君、そういうの嫌いかな
Unless she was just being very generous, but I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock root, and potatoes. Dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks
ご
incredible.
飯も持ってきてあげたから、レンジで温めればすぐ食べられるし。
Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese.
それからね、またお漬物を作ってきたんだよ。今度は山菜のお漬物なの。
How good are pickles? Kidding me? Before I moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai? I'm sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing it. But I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. Those so-called supermarket vegetables taste rough and overpowering in comparison. If you had to describe them, then they were the vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, you first had to partake of sansai. It's common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. There's a lot of text in this one. No matter what kind of pickles they were, it goes so well with that fluffy white rice.
それからね。
But wait, there's more. So delicious. It just seems so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious-sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. Though the possibility that it was laced with poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill went down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation had occurred just then. But the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. Happy Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. That premise was that tonight, dinner hadn't been made at my house, meaning it was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't here. That's what I said. I do think it's a little bit odd that she came here prepared with dinner when normally mom would be making our dinner. That is a little bit strange, unless, like, her mom had talked to Rena that morning and told her she was going to Tokyo. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom were here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact that she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange. Well, we did leave for school without Rena, and we said when Rena shows up at the house, we wanted mom to tell her that we'd gone on ahead. So maybe our mom had talked to Rena and was like, oh hey, we have like an emergency thing we have to go to Tokyo for. Please take care of Keiichi for us or something. Unless she knew. I mean, that would make sense. Otherwise, it's very strange. Did she know that my parents weren't home? There's also the chance that this was a bluff. I turned on the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. There was a chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home. But I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It's hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not. But there was no reason for me to confess that right now. I should try holding on to the fact as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. As long as I didn't take it off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm gonna guess that. I'm gonna guess that Keiichi's mom talked to Reina this
あ
morning
りがたいんだけどさ
when we left early for school and
もう
told
少
her
し
that she
で
had a meeting in
夕飯がで
Tokyo.
きるみたいなんだよ
そうなの？そうなの？
せっかくで申し訳ないんだけどさその
Unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly.
ちょっとはおかずになると思うな。
悪いけど間に合ってるようちのお袋ってさ結構おかずをいっぱい作るんだよだから
おかずあ
Her
るの？
feelings are so hurt. A smile that bordered on a cringe, I dodged her questions apologetically. But the feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was sitting down dinner right now, but it didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact, and that I was aware of it as well.
ケイチ君もおかずとか作れるんだね。何を作ったのかな？
いやその別に俺が
Rena had assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I'd made them, but rather that my mom hadn't.
本当に作ったの？おかず。ケイチ君が？
だから俺が作ったんじゃないよお袋が作ったいや作ってるんだよ今だからさ悪いけどレナの持ってきてくれたのは食べられないんだよ
Rena fell silent at that moment. She knows we're lying. At that moment I felt that the light had suddenly disappeared from her eyes.
ケイチ君のお夕飯当ててみようか？
なんだっていいじゃないか
ね
Conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. Like I was being interrogated.
そのお夕飯お湯だけで作れるんじゃないかな？
She knows we're gonna have cup noodles.
おいおい侮るなようちのお袋のスペシャルなディナーを見くびるなってんだそりゃもう満願全席状態ですごいのなんの
We're selling it a little too hard there, Keiichi. I tried my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness.
ケイチ君本当にお母さんご飯作ってってくれたの？
いやだからくれたんじゃなくて今作ってるんだよ
She knows that your mom's not there,
もうすぐ
dude.
晩飯に
She talked to her before she left. Rena had taken that assertion of mine that my mother was home and making dinner right now and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became.
ねえケイチ君
At that moment, an uncomfortable chill crept from the gap in the doorway.
お母さんお家にいるのかな？
We're acting like a lunatic. I couldn't keep up this charade anymore. Rena, she knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I'd come too far to admit that now. Anyway, my parents were here and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted. So I answered. I told her she was here.
いるよもちろん
I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming even more frigid, piercing me with their gelid glare? I'd never heard that word before.
どうして？
何のことかな
I tried acting casual, but that facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That look, it informed me of Rena's response faster than she could open her mouth.
どうしてさっきから嘘をつくのかな？
嘘なんか
Hey, Rena, honey. I know we're lying to you, but get your face out of my doorway.
嘘だよね。
嘘なんかじゃ
嘘だよ。
Rena's outburst sent a jolt surging through my body. Rena and I were still separated by what few inches that slightly ajar, but still chained door could afford. But despite that, I was still being cornered. My house, which I'd considered a safe haven until now, had become more like a dark alleyway where no one could save
ケ
me.
イチ君のお夕飯当てるよ。ね。
I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents would not be here tonight. But it was still so strange that it had come to this. Even if she somehow knew that my parents weren't home, There was no way she'd be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know it was
カ
instant?
ップラーメン当たりでしょ
Probably because my mother had told her before she left that I was going to be eating cup noodles for dinner. I was going to eat. Wait. The cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at this statistically, it was the most probable answer. It didn't mean she was
ラ
guessing.
ーメンだけじゃきっとお腹すくと思うなご飯とかも一緒の方がきっと腹持ちいいと思うよ
Calm down, Keiichi, my bara. This is just coincidence. Rena was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact that she was inferring what I was thinking alarmed me. But it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that, they couldn't possibly
好
exist.
きなの
ラーメンがかよ。
ううん豚骨生姜味
What are the stars supposed to be? Rena indicated that the point of my answer was addressing was wrong. The rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken.
ごめん、レナ。今、なんて。
Yeah, what did you say?
何が
今さ、何が好きって聞いたんだよ。
Well, long before I regretted how carelessly I'd pushed forward with that question. It was such a simple answer. That's why I wasn't able to comprehend it.
豚骨生姜味
Pork bone and ginger flavor. Okay, that's the exact flavor of the ramen that we have in the house. I guess it's very possible that our mother had this conversation with her earlier, but that's very specific. I wonder how I appeared in the moments my mind went completely blank until the moment I was able to recover. As my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction, I lost all sense of balance.
なんでそこまでわかるんだよ
I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzied state I was in. How could Rena know even this? Not even caring as I mashed my head against the door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. But she didn't even flinch when she saw me do that.
確かに買った。まとめて買った。俺が箱買いした。それがどうしてわかるんだ
なんでかな不思議だねだね
How could you dodge the question at a time like this? Chain and the door suddenly were no longer protecting me.
どうしてわかるなぜ知ってる答えろ
買ったのはセブンスマートだよね
Okay. Alright, that's weird. A shiver ran up my spine. I tried covering up with an angry facade.
だからなんでわかるんだよ
Unless she had a very specifically detailed conversation with our mother about the noodles,
ずっ
which
と
was
くっ
weird.
ついてたから
Following you the whole time.
何を言ってんだよ
Couldn't understand why she was saying she'd been following me all this time.
だからレナがケイイチくんの後ろにずっとくっついてたの
Like that night? The night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Oishi-san, I didn't even sense her being there. Standing behind the door, behind me, standing there just like that. Oh, I forgot about that. It's really hard to rationalize
ケイイチくんが
standing
い
at
ろ
my
んな
door
ラ
for
ーメ
an
ンを
hour
選んでるとこ
listening to my phone
後ろから
conversation.
ずっと見てたの
That's a hard one to rationalize. When Keiichi was picking out the noodles, I was watching the entire
いろ
time.
んな種類を選んでたんだよねそれでお母さんに怒られたの高いラーメンばっかり選ぶから一種類にしなさいって
Oh.
それでケイイチくん大好きな大きいカップの豚骨生姜味を選んだんだよね
Oh
Rena
no,
was sitting
Rena,
up.
honey.
豚骨ラーメンでも大きいカップは全部食べきれないけどね
Oh, Rena. I wanted to sympathize with you. I wanted to feel bad for you. My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. Might have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatizing levels. With the fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then I could understand what Rena was saying and started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards, and as I withdrew, Rena advanced.
だからケイチくん、ここを開けて。レナと一緒にご飯食べよう。
I don't want to eat dinner with you now,
き
honey.
っと美味しいから。ね。
No. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you, Rena. Get your fingers out of my door. Rena's pale, slender fingers squirmed through the crack in the door one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling the chain. Get your hands out of my door. I am feeling so many things right now. I am feeling betrayed. If she had unlatched the chain from the door, a feeling of terror would have just exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. I tried my hardest to light the fuse to the powder keg in my heart. Trying again and again. Clatter, clatter. But it doesn't light. It doesn't
開
light.
けて、ケイチくん。
帰ってくれ。頼むから。帰ってくれ。
どうしてそんな意地悪を言うのかな。かな。
That's a very menacing face, Rena.
帰れよ。帰れ。
The powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering, it just exploded. I tackled the door. The force through the door had knocked Rena momentarily off balance. I couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the doorknob with both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. That slamming sound I desired didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. The source of that was Rena's fingers. Oh no! Each of those fingers wriggling, squirming around like the tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack of the doorway.
痛いよ、ケイチくん。
It wasn't a harsh shriek, but more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to feel. Oh no. I kept on pulling the door with all my might. Didn't even realize that if I didn't lose my pull on the door, at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out. That was why the door wasn't closing.
本当に痛いの、ケイチくん。悪ふざけが過ぎたなら謝るよ。
I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she'd done up until now. It didn't change anything.
痛いの。痛いの。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
So we just did it again. We did the switch. It's just so bizarre. Like, Rena was giving me some really uncomfortable vibes, and now we're like a freaking lunatic again. What is going on? Rena couldn't leave it if she wanted to because I trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even squirming.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain, but like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over. Go away, go away, go away, stop it, stop it, stop it! I pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from their imprisonment in the doorway. The moment that happened, the door closed soundly and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I locked the door immediately. Made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ケイチくん。ごめんなさい。ここを開けて。ケイチくん。
Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely and nothing else. After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Those pitiful words. I would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all. That wasn't out of any sort of malice. I felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Before, Mion had threatened me at this doorway, saying there was nothing she didn't know. And just now at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact that my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out, and not even opened the door. See, now I think that we're crazy again. And now I don't think that Rena said anything. Oh, man. Oh. My bigger plans hadn't helped at all. Like, maybe she was just joking with us? Like, I don't know. In Hine Mizawa, it was impossible to outwit them. Even though it was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get as far away from Rena as possible. One step, two steps. With each one, her sniveling apologies became more distant. Ugh. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed? The phone? It was the receiver. Finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently, not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Okay, now I think this is fishy. If we had brought the phone to the door, Oishi would have been able to hear every single part of our conversation, and he would be able to tell us, like, if something sounded off or something was crazy. Like, I'm wondering if it's all about tone. Like, maybe Rena was, like, saying that she had followed us in, like, a joking manner, when really she had talked to my mom and been like, oh, yeah, Keiichi bought all these pork and ginger bone noodles at the 7th Street Market, and we're not going to eat them. So maybe she was, like, joking with us, and then we took it the wrong way, thinking that she was threatening us. If we had brought the phone with us, Oishi would have been able to tell us, one way or the other, what had happened. It could be that my clock had run out of batteries. Talked with Rena for so long, how did almost no time pass? The hand of the clock was ticking forward 1 second every second as usual. As I put the still-warm receiver to my ear, time which felt frozen began moving once again.
大石さん、お待たせしてすみませんでした。
いえいえ、大してお待ちしていませんよ。
It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi-san was different. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. Drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was.
今、レナが来ました。
遊びに来たんですか?
I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san. I can't explain it either. I didn't need to right now. Right now I needed to know about Rena. That's right. I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted that conversation. What was true and what was false? I couldn't tell. One thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure something out if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I'd hit rock bottom. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No. Rather, I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything. I definitely won't.
竜宮レナさんのことですか? 調べましたよ。ねえ、まあ簡単には。
I understood that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you since you're her friend.
その簡単な全てを知りたいんです。
あなたが聞いて面白いような話はありませんよ。
大石さん。
Spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. And then I said it.
竜宮レナは怪しいと思っています。過去の事件がたとえお社様のたたりによるものだったにせよ、竜宮レナは関わっています。
レナさんが怪しいと思える具体的な証拠があるのですか?
The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. He had some sort of proof. That was him talking as a detective.
状況証拠だけです。
そうですか。
I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Pulling on the fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait. Disappointed, but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed.
大石さん、目に見える証拠がなければ動けないんですか?
What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof. I stuck that barb in there. As Oishi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine.
大丈夫ですよ。あなたは私が守ります。
You haven't been so far. That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. It was all I was to him.
大石さんの捜査は俺の生死と無関係でしょうが、俺は死ねば終わりなんです。
Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relate to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position.
だから話してください、レナのこと。サトシは転校しました。多分俺もそれほど遠くない将来、レナですが大石さんには俺の死体を見つけることもできないでしょうね。 現にサトシの死体だってまだ見つけられてない。
前原さん、どうか落ち着いて。
I was already suppressing my agitation, even without Oishi-san having to tell me. Wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust in the police. It would seem that I could depend only on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then I at least wanted to know what happened before Rena transferred schools.
つまらない話になるのは覚悟の上ですね。
Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. So if it's not going to be interesting, why did the music just change to something
今の俺
menacing?
にとってつまらない話は何一つありません。お願いします。
まずいくつかお断りすることがあります。
はい。
過言無用でお願いします。また内容には一部憶測も含まれているかもしれません。全てが真実ではないかもしれないということです。よろしいですね。
真実ではないかもしれない。言ってる意味がよくわかりません。
ひなみ沢の連続開始事件は捜査本部がありません。毎年の事件はここに扱われています。
Okay.
ですから竜宮レナが捜査線に浮上したことはつまりですね。
レナの調査は警察としてでなく個人として行ったということですか。
ご理解いただけて助かります。話のほとんどは電話もしくは会って聞かせてもらったものば
So
かり
he's been doing a lot of research into Rena.
ですから裏が取れていません。鵜呑みにしないでほしいということなんですよ。ご理解いただけますね。
全部聞いた話だけなんですか。
ええ、申し訳ないです。個人調査ですのでね。
あれ、以前レナのカルテを見たって言いませんでしたか。確かにそう聞きましたよ。
Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the
そ
line.
んなことも言いましたかね。気のせいということにしてください。
I wonder how much he's dug into all of our friends. He wouldn't be looking into Rena if there wasn't something there. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all.
話してください、大石さん。
わかりました。
Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. It seemed that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago, right? We knew that. She had moved to Ibaraki Prefecture just before starting elementary school. Then following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then Rena confided to the doctor. It was Oyashiro-sama. This was everything I knew.
私が知る話も前原さんと大きくは変わりません。
ではどこを詳しく調べたんですか。
I didn't need to ask. It was the incident right before she transferred back to Hinamizawa. This is a separate incident. Wait, hold on. So she broke the windows when she was younger, when she was in elementary school. That was a separate thing. Something else happened before she came back to Hinamizawa?
レナが起こした事件とその後の医者での告白ですね。
はい。
大石さんはその内容を知っているからこそレナたちを疑っているんですね。
ええ、疑っています。
やはりレナたちが犯人。
ああ、いえ、疑うとはそういう意味ではないんです。
Huh? Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but his particular words were less than reassuring. I'm confused, because he said there was another incident. So the window thing was before she transferred. I guess. I don't know. We'll keep reading.
何を疑ってるんですか。
お社様ですよ。
I thought he didn't believe in curses. What?
お社様のたたりって本当にあるのかな。なんてまあ。
Is he messing with us? Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry, certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance, the course of events leading him to delve into Rena's past. Just then there was thunder in the distance and a heavy rain started pouring down. It came without warning, a downpour fiercely beating the ground. I left the window in my room open a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap
どう
wildly.
しました？
あ、いえ、急にすごい雨が。すみません。どうぞ続け
Oh
てく
man,
ださ
that
い。
is not going to go well for us. I got up while still on the phone and grasped the window.
はじめに事件と申し上げましたが、学校側も被害者も告発していないので、正式には事件ではないのです。でですね、この辺りがどうも関係者皆さん口が重いんですよ。被害者の一人は片目に後遺症を残すぐらい殴られているのにもかかわらずです。
She beat a kid?
学校側か、もしくは表沙汰になるのを望まない何者かがいろいろ根回しをしたのかもしれ
Are
ない。
we still talking about Rena?
またカウンセリングを担当した神経科医も職業倫理に厳格な方で。もしもし、前原さん、聞こえてます？
There was the figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even in this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Was it Rena? Standing there, both arms dangling at her side. In one hand was a stack of boxes wrapped in cloth. Her eyes, focused on my room, focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion, as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be at this time I was more enthralled by Rena, instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? So in addition to breaking the window, she also beat a kid so bad that she almost knocked their eye out. That part was not divulged to us earlier. If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? Was she repeating to me? What was she saying? Why was I right up against the window fixated on
もし
her?
もし、前原さん、聞こえてますか？もしもーし。
ごめんなさい。
前原さん、
She's saying I'm sorry? She's standing in the rain over and over again, mouthing the words I'm sorry?
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
I don't know if that's creepy or endearing or sad or what that is.
もしもし、前原さん、どうしましたか？
Even in this torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. The other self inside me drew the curtains hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apologies still reached my ears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, will you forgive me for that? Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I'm sorry. 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 Damn it. Why should I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. 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 Won't
前
forgive.
原さん、聞こえてるなら返事をしてください。もしもーし。
That's chilling. Wow. Oh, well, we do have more tips. How was I wrong? I looked before at our tip screen and it looked like we didn't have any more tips available to us. Rain of apologies. Alright, view new tips. Hold on. I'm not lying. I looked earlier. View all tips. Oh, they don't show up. Alright, I guess that's it. Alright, so let's go look at our new tips. I thought this was the last chapter we were on. I was so excited. Split personality. This is a long chapter.
よく映画などに登場しますが、簡単に言うとどのようなものでしょうか。
複数の人格を持つことによる逃避と考えられています。
多重人格は逃避の一つなのですか？
さようです。 そのメカニズムは完全には解明されていませんが、精神を守るために脳が行う
I
防
believe
御
they
行
call
動
that
の一つではない
dissociative
かと考
personality
えら
disorder
れてい
now.
ます。
I believe.
例えば貧乏な人がお金持ちになった自分を想像するという現実逃避ってありますよね。これも多重人格なわけですか？
極論はできませんが、講義的にはそう解釈できます。つまり誰にでもあり得る現象なのです。
その現実逃避の見境がなくなると二重人格になるのですか？
ちょっと難しいですね。そう提唱する説もありますし、諸説紛々です。
では精神医学の世界ではまだ多重人格というのは未知の解明されていない現象なんですか？
残念ながらそうなります。今後の研究が期待されます。
でも二重人格なんてなんだかかっこいいですよね。どういう人が二重人格になれるんですか？
The people that get split personalities are the ones that have been through some sort of devastating
な
trauma.
れると言いますか、なりやすいと言いますか、最近の研究では遺伝と死因が複雑に絡み合い、中でも幼少期の育児体験が大きく作用するのではないかと言われています。
そういえばこの A 君も家庭に問題を抱えてるんですよね。
Person A.
孤独に7つの人格を持つ青年 A では VTR の続きをどうぞ。ですがその前にコマーシャル。
That's a weird tip. Why are they telling us about multiple personalities? It's a tip. Are we assuming that maybe like our friends have them? Or something? That's a weird tip to get. Sunmart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. What's this, Keiichi? So many. No reason to get all the different kinds, is there? Oh, this is the market where we bought all the ramen. I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls in the cart.
最近のカップ麺は凝ってて種類も多いんだよ。どれも一通りは食ってみたいし。
It was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi. Buy them in the big case, it's cheaper. I don't know why Mom and Dad aren't doing voiceovers, but that's fine. Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise.
それじゃあ一種類しか食えないよ。飽きちゃうって。
I was resisting as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you. You don't have to rush me. Quickly search the cases of noodles for what I want. Pork bone and ginger, large cup? Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one? To let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. So when I plunked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart, Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, "These ones?" Sure, this is my last compromise. I began explaining the choice.
豚骨はうまいんだよ。大盛りだけど大味ってわけじゃないし。
I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. This frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation searching. Oh, so this is like a memory in our head. But of course I couldn't find her. Maybe there was a reason. Maybe because she wasn't really there and she was digging you around before you slammed her fingers in the door. Was she spying at me from the blind spot? Go through the sound and presences again, looking. Could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I definitely noticed if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. Smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around and checked for it. But the world had moved on, and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store looking for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box. Tip-tap. Listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind mine. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. But I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That's why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had run at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. But I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That's why it made no sound. That was all. That time I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. That time the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turned on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move. So you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? Like how the presence was moving behind me. I quickly realized I could move. Just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire body was trying to force me to stop. It began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Roar! Turn around. At first I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What is this? Just as a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurp the juices, and finally discover it was an apple, my mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew. Slurp the juices and discover the apple. Meaning, what was in front of me was gua? What the hell kind of tip was that? Meaning what was right in front of me was gua? What do you mean was gua? What do you mean what was right in front of me was gua? Keiichi Maibara. You start making some damn sense right now. I'm gonna get so mad at you. Oh, I still hear the rain. Oh, man. Okay, well, we're gonna, wow, we've been playing for this, like, for 2 hours. I've been so engrossed in this game. Oh, my God. I really want to know what happens next. So, yeah, so this has been episode, gosh, what are you up to now? 7? Episode 7 of Higurashi When They Cry. We have to be wrapping this up now. There's so much going on, and Mom and Dad are out of town. Like, I can't imagine that we have much more of this to play. But, I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this video, feel free to give me a like and subscribe for more like this. I will hopefully be wrapping this up before the Christmas holiday because, like you all, I'm probably going to be kind of stretched for time because I'm going to be spending time with my family. But I hope to have another episode up soon. I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you for the next one. Peace!